Okay, and so this is being recorded, so I know Sabria, like you being here is amazing, but I always feel like these things, since they're going to YouTube, and because they're going to be on our webinar series, it's really a big old like, okay, what can you get out of this, and how can you use this? I wanted to do this topic, and I want to make sure you guys know why this is important to me. It's going to freeze for a second. There we go. Is that I love this topic because I feel like at the end of the year, this would be the perfect topic to get into when you're a little overwhelmed and you just kind of want to get like, how do I get all these things done in a way that it makes my life easier? And so that's how I've always looked at it and said, okay, how can I use AI? So the resources I gave you, I'm going to start with just making sure that you guys know, making sure that you guys know what is possible, and then making you have the resources so you guys can go on your own and say, okay, this is what I can do and figure this out. So I'm going to share my screen now and show you where we're starting at. So if you have it in the chat, there's the resources, or here on this page that's about to show up. This is where you guys have the bit.ly is in the corner, and then the QR code is on the side. But this is something that I've been playing with, kind of thinking of AI in all the different platforms that we have that we can use. So I'm going to kind of classify it as a tree. And I think a lot of people, all they want when they talk about AI is they want the low-hanging fruit. So for me, Canva, I'll give you a couple examples of that, but there's Magic School AI, Diffit, and CurePod. Those are the ones that I feel are the easiest ones if you want to pay for it. And I wanted to give you those as like examples, and I'm going to give you some stuff at the end that if you want to go down a deeper hole of like, okay, what can these things do? Based on what you're going to learn today, hopefully you can kind of pick up and say, hey, this is how we can do this and how we can play with this. But these are the ones that I feel like are the easiest because they have a paid feature. They have a free feature, and I'll tell you the one that I think it's Magic School AI. Like you can start off right away and you can get going, but then there's a subscription model, or there's a paywall that you get to that you no longer can create those things for free, because most of these will create like a slide or a presentation. Now, if you have Canva, Canva's free for educators. So if you have Canva, there's something already in Canva that a lot of people seem to miss that I think is really key, and it's the way they word it. And I'm going to show you that next. But the two that I'm going to spend most of my time focusing on that are the educators, the ones that can help you long term and right now, are the old school ones. So I feel like I look at these as ChatGPT, and then if you're at a Microsoft district, you have Copilot. But I think right now ChatGPT is usually the easiest one, but it's not the one that has all the bells and whistles because the paid feature is not what most people go through. Now, what I just switched to quickly was Canva. And on Canva, if you log in and you have an educator account and you've created, you have something called AI image generator, or they call it Magic Media. And anytime you add a text box, you have something underneath it, if you're in the educator account one, called Magic Write. And I don't know if you've ever played with this, but with the AI media or the Magic Media, you type in Steph Curry playing for the Canadian basketball team, and I get a bunch of images of Steph Curry playing on whatever team I want him to play on. So this is where Magic Media, this is where a lot of people, when they look at AI, you see over here, someone did an example of cute anime cat in a forest with flowers, gothic castle surrounded by dinosaurs, things like that. Or if you're looking for a very specific example of what you want, we have a coworker of mine that has a dog named Birdie, and I sent her a bunch of stuff of Birdie teaching people how to use technology because I put it on there. I think, oh, sorry, I just saw in the chat. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys can see that and you have that. So you have that option right there. On the other one, on the Magic Right, you see how it says I can basically put in the idea. I can brainstorm ideas for marketing a new running shoe. They give you the example, and what they'll do in Canva is it'll actually write out like the topics, the things you asked for. So it's built into it. The reason I want to make sure I show you this one is Canva's free for educators. If you sign in with your educator account, you'll notice that these are there. The only thing that most people don't know about this is they don't use the Magic Write when they add a text box. And when they go to add media, they don't look for the AI image generator, which is called Magic Media. And I feel like for low hanging fruit, especially for if you're totally new to AI and you're like, what can they do? This is where most people go. and they'll start to play with this and they'll have fun because it's just a way to create something really quickly, like an image, or be able to have text that you can be created for you that you can insert into your presentation. Now, what I want to teach you though is this is the one that you can easily candy, right? What I want you to know is like the meat and potatoes, and this is where for me, I went through a discovery of what AI could be. And I thought of it first as a Google search. So I wanted you to know that what I learned, and a lot of this is from my own self-discovery, and then going through what AI recommended. I followed a TikTok influencer that was talking about how AI could be your teacher. And I finally went through and started saying, oh, there's another level to this. And it's because I'm not asking the right questions. So what I want to get ingrained in you, and I'm going to give you a ton of examples today, is when we do AI, we're going to use ChatGPT because it's free. I'm going to skip around to Copilot to show you like, hey, they work exactly the same. Is that you need to make sure you have these four things that will help you identify what you want, and then be able to go through the creation process where you make this your co-teacher. Sometimes I think of it as a therapist, as a trainer, as the person I always bounce ideas off. I even named mine, so you'll see. I show you that you can customize it where it calls you a name, you call it a name. It's an actual person because you are getting it an idea and then bouncing back and forth. The first thing we need to do when we're using AI is make sure you understand the goal. So you're going to see that this is going to be green for me. When I show you this, the green text will be what the goal is. What's the primary objective? Too many people use AI as a Google search, and you're not giving it enough to be able to do a deep dive. You're just asking for something, and it doesn't know what to give you because it's not very clear. The return format is the one that most people miss. What do I want? What presentation? How do I want this sent back to me? How do I want this? I think the return format is what really took me to another level, is that I'm not just asking it a question. I want you to create this. Then this is what I want back, and I want it in this format. And then the one that I usually teach students when I work on this is the warnings. Tell AI what to watch out for. I want this to be information that I want for this grade level, for this format. Don't put this kind of stuff in here. I don't want this kind of, I want things that are for this topic that I'm searching for. You're going to see these are going to be in red for me. So when I show you the examples, what are the warnings when I'm using AI that are going to keep me from getting some random searches? Because I'll tell you right now, my Google search, I'm getting frustrated because now I can see that because there's no warnings in it, I'm getting things that I'm not really specific to what I want. And the final one is the extra level. There's only a couple examples I have for you on this one. This is for where you want to go like deep, the context dump. What do I want? So I want you guys to see something like this going through. This is one of the first ones that I found that showed me these formats, and this guy went all in. So here's what I want to show you. This person, and I know that it's really small to me for me to fit it in, is I'm going to read it to you. So the goal for this person is I want to have the best medium height length hike within 2 hours of San Francisco. So this person wanted a search of something that's 2 hours away from San Francisco, and it's a medium length. The return format, oh, sorry, there's one more part of the goal. Each hike should provide a cool and unique adventure, and to be lesser known. So they want something very specific, very unique. The return format for each hike, return the name of the hike. That I like to find it on an app. So this one is Alt Trails. They were asking for something specific that they can find, they can search. The return format is how I want it to come back to me. And then starting in the hike, they're going through all the information they want on the return. The warnings is big on this one. So be careful to make sure that the name of the trail is correct and that it actually exists and that is the time is correct. And the reason I want you to know that is because sometimes on Google searches, I was in Canada and there's a mall of where it has a roller coaster in it. And when I did a search, it said it was a must stop to go there, but it hasn't been updated in 5 years. On the Google search, I would have gone there and I would have been there and it was shut down. The warning here allowed me to eliminate this. The warning for most of you, since you're educators, is I want this information that I want this to be created. I want it to be for the state of California, which I'm located. I want it to be aligned to these standards, and I want it to have this focus. Reading level, content information. This is where your AI searches will become something where it becomes a more topic and content that you want. Okay. Now, remember, goal, return, what are the warnings, and the context dump. This person put in a ton of information. So the search was very unique. This person put in what trails they've done, what they like, their fitness level, things like that that allow it to be able to come back to a really defined search. I think of it sometimes as going out and getting something that's tailored, made for you. Like if you're buying a suit, instead of just getting something off the rack, what do I want and how do I want it to look like? So to make sure that you guys understand these ideas, I have examples for you that I'm going to give to you that you can do it on your own, and I'm going to do some of these with you. So the first one I have for you right here, going down this tree, is how do you improve your writing? This is one of the ones I use with students. So I'm going to show you how we do this. The prompt that we're going to ask it is, we're going to paste the writing that we've already created. Please proofread the text above. Okay, and I know some of you might be going, wait, wait, wait. Why would you give this to students? Because you want to make sure that you always get the little blue lines that are red lines in your writing. You already get some of this stuff, but what could ChatGPT take it to another level? So right now, the blue is the return format. I want the goal is please proofread the text above, and then I paste my writing in there. Then I want you to correct any grammatical and spelling mistakes. Okay, that's the return format. I don't want you to rewrite it. I want you to fix it. And then the warnings or the things that I want is the context dump, is I want you to offer ideas that would make my writing more lucid. Okay, now that's a key word there. This is specific for someone. So what I ask for kids when we do this is like, hey, what is the audience I'm writing for this? What is the reading level that I'm working on? So a lot of times when people are thinking of AI with students, especially, they're thinking about them just using it to cheat. And one of the things I'll say is if you put someone's writing through even through ChatGPT, you paste the writing of the student in this and say, look for things that might make this look like an AI wrote it. You'll see right away everyone inserting the same thing. You're going to get the same results back. Some of these things will come back with, hey, this looks funky. Ask more questions about this. What I ask students to do is look at this as reflection and feedback. Look at my paper. Give me feedback on how I can make this better? What are areas that I'm not being clear on? The things that we used to have where we would go to a tutor and we would look at it and say, I want to put this in here and I want to have this feedback and I want to have this one-on-one. How can I make this better is a big part of what this is. For me as working with teachers, I always say this would be a great way to look at the way that you're sending parent letters home. How am I making this easier to read? What are the things that I can make this more friendly or write this at a fourth grade level, because sometimes that's how newspapers are written. It's easier to understand. So the things that we need to look at is when we start to do these things is we're looking at what is the goal? What is the thing I want? How do I want this returned to me? And then what are the warnings we're looking for? If you don't do these things and you use it as a Google search, you're going to notice that you're getting content back to you that is not more than just a basic what you're doing when you paste it into Google and you're looking for it. That's what you're getting back. When you're putting it into something like ChatGPT or you're looking at where you're a co-pilot, you're looking for things that are a little bit more. Now, here's what I'm going to recommend for you. If you're going into this and you're looking at it and say, okay, I want to improve my writing. I wanted to give you an education one, but here's one of the ones that I asked Enrique at the beginning, how to use AI. I want to learn a new skill. I want to learn insert desired skill. So what is the skill I want to learn? I'm a complete beginner. I don't know how to do this. Create a step-by-step 30-day learning plan. And then the warnings I'm getting back is that will help a beginner like me learn and improve this skill. This is the one that I probably use the most because I'm looking at, okay, I don't know everything. I want to learn more about AI. I want to learn more about how do I can use Microsoft Excel. In my job, we have to use stuff all the time, and I'm looking for, hey, how do I learn this thing that I've really never played with? How do I do this? I told you right now, one of the things I've used this as a trainer. My son wanted to use this AI as a way to help him increase in vertical, and I'm going to show you an example basically using this format. How do I do this where I can learn a new skill, insert the information, and be able to do this? Now, there's two ways that I'm going to show you that we can do this. We can do it where it doesn't know you, no login, just open up ChatGPT and it'll start as a brand new thing every time. If you sign in with the free plan, what it's going to do is it's going to save your searches so you can always come back to them, but it's also going to learn. So for instance, if I put in, I'm not feeling well, how can I get better? One of the things it did the other day that I thought was hilarious, it asked me, would you like a create a lesson plan? Because it knew a lot of my searches are education based. So it was looking at prompts already. What are things I might need because I'm sick? I was looking for just like things that were specific to drainage and things like that that I wanted to deal with instead of just taking NyQuil or DayQuil. So on this right now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to scroll over to ChatGPT, and here's the one that I started with on this one. So this is one of the ones I did for my son. So my son says, I want to increase my vertical by 6 inches. Can you create a workout for an 18-year-old male athlete to do over 6 months? And so what it came up right now is it came up with phase one. For weeks 1 through 6 is going to be strength and foundation. And so I gave a bunch of things: strength training, jump technique, mobility and recovery. Phase two is going to be explosive power. You're looking at week 7 through 12. What is the goal? Converting strength to power. This is where I said at the beginning, I use this all the time with training because this gives me, beyond just the Google search, this created the thing I wanted because I was able to ask it for its goal, the purpose I wanted to do this, what is going to be the return format, and then giving it its warnings. I'm 18 years old. I have what did I say? 6 months to do over 6 months, and I want to increase it by 6 inches. So these are all things that I gave it that it was able to give me through the weeks going through that. So it gives me phases as I go through. Now, I put at the end that some of these things we don't have access to a gym. No problem. We'll create a body weight program focused on what you want to gain in inches and da 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 in the 6 months. And it reevaluated the thing, gave me the same stuff, but now you're looking at no weight equipment, nothing there, and they go through. And then one of the final things it gave me is right now it asked me, do you want to create a meal plan? Do you need any other modifications? What are the things you're looking for? Because I signed in with ChatGPT, this is always here. Now I could always copy and paste it and don't care about it. But one of the things it's doing is as I'm refining my plans, is I'm asking for a meal plan. I'm asking for cut this out. I'm asking for these things. These are quick ways that I can go through and customize it. Now, on the other side, like we said at the beginning, one of the things you need to learn is how do we make this more efficient? Is if I wanted to create a lesson plan, if I wanted to take it, same idea, I wanted to go through, learn a new skill, I want to teach something to students. So right now, my biggest weakness is math. So if I got called to sub in a classroom and it said, hey, George, everyone's sick. You have to cover sixth grade math and you have to teach something that scares me to living death is fractions, something that I don't, my mind just doesn't capture it. This is what I would approach it now to be able to go, okay, I need to have context. I need to know what I'm doing. I need to be able to have a way to conversate with ChatGPT, which is my teacher aid that can help me. So what I'm going to ask it is, can you create a lesson or a homework assignment or something, a lesson about fractions for, and again, I'm giving it now. I said I wanted the purpose of this. The prompt is I want this, but I need to make sure I give it the return format for sixth graders. So sixth grade, oh, sorry, fifth grade, sixth grade. Um, and the focus is fractions. Oh, I already did math. I already did math. And the and I don't know much about the topic. So I'm going to do the first one, which is very basic. So right now it went through. Absolutely. Here's a beginner friendly sixth grade. And then it gives me a duration. This is 40 to 60 minutes. The objectives it gives me, the materials I'm going to need. So it gave me materials, my step by step. So I have a warm up. These are all fractions. So it gives me the pizza one, direct instruction, 15 minutes, guided practice, 10 to 15 minutes. So it's giving me things in here. And then now I'm going to need to make sure I give it some warnings because right now it's giving me the stuff in here that I'm looking at: independent practice, wrap up, and then use the script. This is new. Need more teaching help? Use the script. A fraction is like sharing something. I cut a sandwich into 4 pieces and eat one. I ate 1/4 of it. The top number tells you how many pieces I have. The bottom number tells you how many pieces there are. I'm telling you right now, as a kid, not understanding fractions, I might have needed this. And so again, going through that on there. Now, Daniel just said something. One of the things I'll show you is I do a lot of stuff in stories, so it probably gave me this as a follow-up going through. Now, let me know if you want. It gave me more options as we get through because I'm asking it to create and to be my co-teacher. It asked me, George, do you want a printable worksheet? Do you want a follow-up lesson on adding or multiplying fractions? And do you want a version with visuals like a slideshow or a Google slide? Now, this is the part that I want you to know. You can only do so many of these, and I'm going to tell you this is the free version. Now, I will say this because I don't work for ChatGPT. You'll notice that I have on the corner here, I have multiple email accounts. Each of these has a version of ChatGPT on it because when one gets filled up, I go to the other. And the reason I do that is because it's just the way to kind of like email addresses, it gets you ChatGPT. So just know right now. Now we also for our work have Copilot, which is part of what we do with Microsoft. But I just want you to know with ChatGPT, I think it for me, once I started learning these prompts, it was a great way to get started to be able to do these modifications and looking for things that I want to go, okay, how do I do this? Now, this is how quickly you could create something and be able to have it. I want to make sure I'm giving you all the prompts that I felt have been successful, but I want you to know how quickly we can build this and start with this and be able to look at, hey, this is what AI is. Now, AI is not just something that can create things for you. On the next slide, I want to make sure you guys know if I learn any skill, I can also create a tutor inside of AI. Now, this is the one that I would recommend if you have a kid at home. This is the one that I would say every child needs. The problem with this one on the free version is you'll notice right now it's going to fill up and it's going to run out of free prompts for the day. Here's the reason why. I'm learning about blank, inserting topics. So I gave this to my oldest son that was struggling with his calculus homework. I'm learning about this thing in calculus. Create a series of progressively challenging questions to test my understanding. Now, here's the warning. Identify gaps in my knowledge based on my answers and provide clarifying questions to fill those gaps. So really right here is I am a blank. I am learning about this. Give me examples and who is the audience. This is the one that I felt like when I was working with my son is really where he was using this constantly because I was using things that math is not my forte. My wife is the math teacher. So when she wasn't around, how do I help my student or my son learn about this? By creating your AI into a tutor, it will continue to ask you questions and it'll say, you don't understand this. This is another thing. And you can kind of go through it. In the free version, what you're going to run into is you'll see that you'll fill up all your prompts for the day and you have to wait for the following day or you just switch to the other account or you pay for it, which honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I wanted to make sure I always approach it from a free version. But this is one of those things that I felt like this is what AI could be. There's a lot of products out there that have a tutor section to it, but they're all behind the paywall, is what I've found. And if you find something that is free, as amazing as this has been something that has been really interesting to watch, based because of the warning. Identify gaps. What are the things that I don't get? So, for instance, this is my oldest son is math. My middle son is in Spanish 1, and I always want to just give him the answer, but by showing them here, he had a really hard time with masculine and feminine on using the tenses, and then also when your conjugations, it was stuff that it just wasn't natural for him. Identifying the gaps in your knowledge based on your answers and provide clarifications to fill those gaps allowed him to give examples of like, hey, you don't get this, you're making the same mistake. How do you work your way through it? So I want you to know right now, if you look at AI, there are products out there that you can pay for that will create images for you, that will go through and create slide decks. But if you know how to ask the right questions, AI becomes that extra TA, that extra tutor, that extra help that you have in there. And then one of the things I love about this is if you learn how to get your goals and your return format set up, is that you can basically play with all these. All these ones I'm giving you, I'm making sure that you see how we would do this. But I want you to know I gave it to you where you basically just copy or just type these in there and then start playing with these right away and start to say, hey, this is what AI could be, and this is how I can make it for me. Now, again, I told you right now, we start off with how you can make your writing better, teach me a new skill. You know, how do I increase my vertical, or how do I learn about this? Being able to create a tutor is the next one. Achieve any goal. This one, I laugh because I always think of Daniel and Blake always talk about SMART goals. Use the SMART framework to achieve what's this goal. And then breaking down the steps. The warnings on this one are I want the steps to be measurable, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. This is the one that I would encourage you whenever you get something that you're looking at. Okay, I have to show, or I have to make a goal, or you have to do this. This has been a game changer for me. I am not an organized person, and by any means. I struggle with I skip to too many things at a time. I don't get there focused sometimes on finishing the one thing. I'm always going on to the next thing. By using SMART goals, it's allowed me to be a little more focused in what I'm doing. I would encourage this to use this with your students, but also with your own kids. I have found that this has been very helpful in helping them saying, okay, how are you going to do this? Because SMART goals are one of those things, those keywords that we throw out sometimes, but we don't realize that it has that. Now, when you achieve your goal, and again, I'm looking at time, I'm making sure that I give myself time to cover everything. But when you achieve that goal, there's something that I heard on a podcast called the 80-20. I want to make sure you see all these things so you guys can play with this. When you achieve a goal or you're looking at a goal, there's also a process called the 80-20, and that's the next one I'm giving you. I want to learn about blank. Insert your topic. Identify and explain the most crucial 20% of what the concepts of skills that will help me grasp. 20% will help me grasp the 80% of the topic effectively. When I heard the podcast, I was like, this is a little wordy for me. But what I'm going to encourage you right now is I would say if you want to see the power of AI, try this out. I want to learn about, and again, I'm going to focus on where I think you can get started right away. I want to focus about learning how to use AI in the classroom. Identify and explain the most crucial 20%. What is the gist of it? What is the thing you really need me to talk about and teach me that I don't need to sit down through an hour presentation, that I can get this in 20%? And because it'll help me grasp 80% of the topic effectively. We cannot master everything, but the 80-20 principle will allow us to focus on the essentials. It will allow us to focus on how can be better. Now I'm going to get a little personal here just so you know how I've applied this to my own personal life. How can I be a better father? Husband, listener, friend, mentor. Use those words and see what you get back of like, what is the most crucial thing? And I've learned that those simple things, listening with intent, and listening with patience, and listening without talking. Which I thought, duh, but that's a huge one because I want to fix everything. I want to help you. I want to get into what you're in. And sometimes listening is the thing you need. The 80-20 principle is one of those things that I was like, things that we should know, but these are ways for us to be able to look at the topics and the content. How can something like ChatGPT help me become a better version of myself? How can Copilot, by typing these things, come in and go? So to give you this example, so be able to have those two, I have one that I just did right now. I did it in Copilot. So in Copilot, using the SMART framework to achieve mastery of AI in education, breaking down the steps that are specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant, and time bound. So it gave me a whole lesson plan. I'll be able to go through what are the specific things I need to learn about AI. How do I can go into what machine learning is, natural language processing, and it gives me measurable. Now you notice it gave me all these things that are really good, but I forgot to give it a warning. Please customize this for educators. I don't need to know about machine learning. I don't have time to sit there and learn about how AI specifically works. I want to know how it can affect education. By doing that simple phrase, that simple warning, now I got a goal of mastering AI to enhance learning and teaching and learning. And you notice that I now have targets. I have milestones. I have things that I can actually apply. I actually created my own like personal learning thing off this because I was able to look at it and make it work for me. Whether this is Copilot, whether this is ChatGPT, both of them work the same. It's in the asking of the question and in looking for the information that's going to drive me. Now, I will say a lot of this stuff that I found, some of these prompts, I got to give them props to where I found them. I find them on social media sometimes of someone saying, hey, how do I create this social media empire of what they're doing? Is they're using ChatGPT to give me 10 ideas of things that I can post, things that I can da 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 da. And then everything that you can do for social media can quickly be applied to education because I need to make sure that I'm creating content, I'm creating ideas, I'm creating things that I can work through. And so as you guys look at these are all things in here that you can immediately put in, and with the right prompt and question, you can go. So right now, achieve any goal, and the 80/20 principle can get you started right away going through this. Now, again, I want to make sure you guys know because this is a recording, I want to know that I'm going through this to make sure I cover everything. But I want you to know the best part about this. If you were doing this and you're watching this later on, you pause the video, try these, and then see as you go through the journey. I know when I've done this before, I run out of time because I want to make sure you have all the prompts. But I think it's the best way to see immediately, hey, what's something you want to be 80/20 better on? What's a thing that you want to achieve a goal? I want to be a better chef. I want to be a better teacher of this. I want to go through that. I just shared this with a person that was a pastor, and they had a hard time getting this concept and idea, and it was just a way to process and have the feedback of going through how you can go through those things and help you understand these concepts that are, this is what AI is for. It's beyond a Google search. It's a way to refine and think about what we're talking about together. Now, again, I'm trying to follow a pattern here. This was a word that I hated when I was in the classroom, the personalized learning plan, but help me design a personalized learning plan for mastery in this subject area. Now, again, I want to give you go through the 80/20. Look at all these as they go through. Some of them are very similar, but on this one, break it down into daily learning tasks, recommended resources, and practical exercises that I can build my skills. Again, I'm going to tell you, I use this. I've changed my meal plan. I've changed the way that I look at food. I changed the way that I go through and shop. By being able to have this idea of my personal learning plan or eating plan, or for me, like management plan, is that I can break it down into daily learning tasks, daily meal plan, daily prep. I've even added things to this of saying I'm going to Costco in my personalized plan. What are things that I can buy at Costco that are like that fit these needs, that are like the things on there? If I'm going to Safeway or local supermarket, what are the things that I can purchase that will allow me to do this? Your personal learning plan is something that I want you to know is when you're looking at this and you're looking at how I can get this, I feel like for me, I always look at how am I going to process this and then be able to have the right contacts to be able to go through this. This is the one that I would say use it for everything, even though I just realized I did PL and PL instead. I'll switch it on the back end, but I want to make sure you guys know that this is one of those ones that again has a lot of ramifications for many subject areas and very topics. So I would again customize this for whatever you want it to be, but make sure you understand right now you're starting to see the colors, the greens, the blues, and the reds. Understand how those all play out and how they can help us. This is why I feel like for free, if you know how to write the right questions, what could you create and what could you do? Okay. All right. I have two more of these that I have for you, and then I want to go through and build some stuff with you. These next two, okay. This is where I feel like mine's called Dorothy. So I had to take the name off of it so I wouldn't give you answers back with the name. My AI, my ChatGPT's name is Dorothy because it's like the Wizard of Oz. Like it just took me on a journey and I didn't realize that. This is why she's called Dorothy. Assume the role of a mentor in blank. Offer advice, insights, and actionable tips to someone who's starting in this domain. And then the warnings include common pitfalls and how to overcome them. Having a mentor that basically has the ability to search all the internet and then be able to look at articles and be able to look at topics and to be able to get based on your specific things you want. I want advice. I want to know what are the insights about becoming this, becoming a master teacher in this topic area and this thing here. So allowing it to assume the role of mentor, you'll notice that when I'm asking for questions as I go through some of these, let me go back. Help me design. I want to learn. Use the smart. I'm learning about. Notice that the key words as we go through these, this is where most people fail with AI. They want just the gist of it and don't realize that in the asking of the question. I had a mentor teacher of mine tell me, George, one of the best things you can do as an educator is to not give them the answers, but to give them the breadcrumbs. In the search and discovery, you go on a different path that if I've always give you the answer. And that's what Google is. That's why that's why a lot of people fail with AI is they just assume that it's a Google search and they just ask specifics without asking assume. You are this. I want this. These are the things that we need to look at. If you want Dorothy relationship with your AI or you want whatever you're going to call it, this is where you need to know right now. This is where you start to build that. Now, I'm going to tell you on the mentor, I took it off. I have it all saved so that I didn't mess this up. In my chat GPT, in the corner, when you guys go through and sign in, mine has a little face right here because I signed in with my Google personal account. And when I click on it, there's a button here that says customize your chat GPT. And then in here, I can do what should chat GPT call you? What do you do? And what are the traits that should my chat GPT should have? So my chat GPT is and our mindset is in education. Notice that I have on there that it has like it does it in story telling. I love stories. I love metaphors. I love ideas that allow you to put things that are hard to understand in easier bite-sized pieces. By customizing it and making it your mentor, it'll allow it to have a different like voice when it gives you information. It gives you even like when you're using it and you're copying and pasting it and putting it into something you've created. This is a great way to do it. You don't have to do this. I'm just letting you know this is where you start to go down the rabbit hole. How can I make this where it comes out where you can tell when someone copy and paste something that is not their voice, that is not their like if Daniel sent me something and you put on here, I wanted to have a sci-fi examples from Star Trek. You'll notice that it'll give you that. I had it like I had it that I'd watch Andor, and the other day it said Sky Stone and Sky. I think it's something from it's the what they say at Phoenix when in the Andor TV show, and I was just like, that is amazing how I was able to put that stuff in there. Now, the reason I went down this path is because I was looking at how much my ChatGPT is the things that I want it to be. What are the things that I want? What are the healthy snacks? So like right here, I want healthy snacks that I can eat. So it was telling me the things I want. It knew what I was looking for, what I don't want, if I want to eat meat or not eat meat, things like that. Your ChatGPT can become that mentor for you so that you can see what are the things that I eat for breakfast. There's my breakfast plan right there because I use it that way. When I was going through and looking for the stuff for my son, looking at increasing his speed, looking for things like that. I also had one where I was looking at building a computer for him. It gave me, where's that one? It gave me the idea to be able to have all the different things that you need for your computer to have. So you notice right now, this is where it can quickly build it for you and have that. All right, your final one you have on here on your prompts, and this is the one that Daniel kind of made a mention. This is the one that got me started with using stories and metaphors, and I'm going to give you an example of how quickly we can get started with this. The prompt you're using is, I'm currently studying, inserting whatever prompt, transform the key takeaways into engaging stories or memorable metaphors. And then the warning here is to help me retain the information effortlessly. If you are being asked, all right, this is my public statement announcement right now. If you're being asked to do a graduation or a wedding, or you're speaking somewhere where you need to look amazing. This is the one you need. This is where I gave that pastor. I've heard his talk so many times that I can tell the stories. And I say, hey, why don't you just try this? And it just blew him out of the water because we tend to only take the things that we're around and we bring them with us and we hold on and retain them, and we're not open to new ideas. By brilliantly saying, I'm studying this and I want to create it into key takeaways or engaging stories or memorable metaphors, this is where you have that mentor mentor or that helper that's going to come in and give you an idea to do this. I also coach basketball. I use this to create my halftime talks because you know what? They heard them all before. We're down, we're up, we need a comeback, win one for the Gipper. You can't always use the same thing. So by having this, it allows you to create that. One of the ones that someone just told me that I should do with this that I never thought of, I read stories to my youngest at night. I could create a story here by using these things here to be able to have what are the things I want to make it more engaging and being that because stories is the way that we remember. Okay, now this is ChatGPT and this is a Copilot. They both work exactly the same. The first ones I gave you are just things that you can sign up for. And if you're an educator, most of the stuff is free, but you're going to run into a paywall. By learning to do this, you've started the steps on how you can create, learn, be able to do it on your own, and not have to worry about paying anyone else to do it for you. Now, if you really like the stories and metaphor part, there's something that Google has released that I think a lot of people could be using and don't know about it. And right now I'm going to tell you, it's my favorite thing and I use it all the time. Actually, let me go back to this so you can see them all. It's actually, no, hold on. Here's the slide deck. Let me make sure you guys can see the slide deck. It's called Notebook LM. So classification and taxonomy. My son was listening to this in the other room and I went in there and I'm like, what are you doing? This is the worst video I've ever heard in my life because the person who was watching a YouTube video of doing the lesson, they did it over COVID. The teacher he has right now assigned it for them to learn this and he was like bored out of his mind. But right now, what Notebook LM will allow you to do, if you have a Google account, you have access to this, is that you can go through and upload sources. You upload you have a couple different options. You can do from your Google Drive, a Google Slide, or a Google Doc. You have anything as your drive you can upload. You can upload websites, or what I do is I upload the YouTube video because I want to make something that's a little bit easier to digest and it's memorable. Or you could just copy the text, which if you have the text wherever it's at, you can insert this. So you can use all this as resources to create. So here's what I did. Let me show you this. We took the YouTube video. I hope you guys can hear this because this is horrible.
Okay, so the topic of this video is classification and taxonomy. So let's get
I'm just going to have you 3 more seconds.
So when we talk about classification and taxonomy,
okay, so he was listening to the other room and I was losing my mind. It was just like, oh my gosh, how are you listening to this? Now, here's what we did. On the second part here, what you can do is I inserted that YouTube video that person created about classification and taxonomy, and it went through and it created a podcast that my son was listening to. Not only did he listen to that night, in the drive to school the next morning, here's what we listened to. So remember, it took, what is this video? This video is 17 minutes long. It made a 20-minute podcast because there's two people talking about classification and taxonomy. We're going to listen to a couple seconds of this.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to try to organize the entire world, well, at least the living part of it. We're diving into classification and taxonomy using the YouTube video Classification and Taxonomy from Beverly Biology.
Okay.
Have you ever wondered how scientists make sense?
Okay. Those people are not real. Those people are not real people. They are the AI people that have created a podcast off the most boring subject I've ever heard before based on this guy's video from Beverly Biology. I want to tell you, like he was sharing this to his classmates. The kids killed the test because this is something they were supposed to be tested on. And I gave this to the teacher. And my conversation with his teacher was, I would do this to everything that you find that you've used year after year after year. Create a podcast and listen it to yourself so that you can get make it your own thing here so that you can basically have ideas on how you can play this. The AI part of this for me is one of those things that I feel is incredible that I can have that. Now the interactive mode, I don't know if I have access to this yet. Oh, I do. Okay. The interactive mode here is that you can ask it a discussion question. Hey, I want to learn more about that. And then the podcast that you created the AI for will stop and say, oh, we have a call coming in, or we have a question that's coming in, and then they'll go through and answer the question for it. So for me on this one, I want to make sure you know this is where we're pushing the boundaries. I know I just got a text that was like, hey, I don't know about this. I want you to know that this is the part where we are making these YouTube videos that are out here and we're just assigning them as the end all of all. When you go through and make a podcast off that, you have to understand that what I look at it as is I'm making something that is already out there for consumption, and how do I make it better? Now, here's what I would really like you to do. What my wife does is she inserts her Google Slides that she's created, and it's created audio of her work that she's showing people how to do these things in math. How do I make it? Because audio is another way to be able to learn. We only use video, and audio is a way to be able to just go through and listen to the information that's being portrayed and being used. So again, let me make sure you guys know how you do this. If I go through and create new, it's going to ask me, what do I want to upload? This is where you upload. You notice that if it's your own stuff, you have in your Google Docs and your Google Slides. YouTube is usually what I use, but I know some people have done is copy the text and be able to insert the resources so that they can go through and have it as a digestible thing. I have seen somebody use this as a way to look at a big scientific paper that they just was wordy, couldn't understand it, and then goes through and be able to have this as a way to process that and bring it in. Again, I want to make sure I wanted you to know what's possible. I wanted you to know that what's out there. But one of the things I feel like when it comes to the discussion, and for me especially when it comes to how we can use AI and go through that, is that we're using it as a Google search. Now, I will want you to know that this is what I usually see it as. Is if I wanted a Google search and I said, how do I use AI in the classroom, you'll notice that it'll give me a Google search, but when you hit use more, notice right here, it's telling you already that it's going through and giving you AI overview. And you notice that it gives you links and it goes through this and it has all these things in here, but it's not as specific that if you created it in your own, if you were using it in either ChatGPT or Copilot. Now, again, Gemini is another one that works exactly the same. I just realized that, some of you might be using Google, but what I wanted to make sure that you guys know is right here in this process, as you guys go through this is where you can get started beyond just this, because this is you using AI, but it's just giving you the Google search based on what was on the top in your prompt. If you're using it in ChatGPT, not only can I save it, but I can add to it, and then I go into the prompts of it knowing me, asking me, do I want to create a lesson? Would you like to be able to create this into a worksheet? What do I want to get out of it? Discussion questions. The prompts that I gave you for me right now are the ones that I feel as you go through these, they're the ones that I felt like got me started and allowed me to be able to see, okay, stories and metaphors, creating a mentor, a personal plan, the 80-20. These are all the ones that I feel, and there's so many more out there, but I feel like in the educational realm, creating a tutor or learning any new skill, this is when you can start to go through and say, hey, I don't have access to these things. Learning a new skill is where my son immediately went through and made all his workout plans that way. He went through and did his meal plans. He does all his prep work. Things that you have access to, this is where we can build that and have that. Okay, I haven't looked at the chat, and Tara, I don't know if there was any questions. I wanted to make sure I got that information. Love it. Okay, so there hasn't been in there. Like here, again, I know I barely running out of time, but I want to make sure you guys know this recording. If you go back and play with this, just look at, I broke it up as far as I could because that's how I think now. What is the goal that I'm asking? What do I want in return? And always look at the warnings. Always make sure as you go into these discussion questions, as you go through, you're looking at what are the things I want to exclude from this. Now, I will say this, and I just want to make sure you guys know this, is I have yet to find in my work with students, and I work with some classrooms, is that they know all of this. They know that, but they only know it as a Google search. They know whatever you wrote as the assignment. How do I take the assignment into ChatGPT, write this back? Sometimes they copy and paste, and at the bottom where it says, would you like it to da-da-da-da, that's their giveaway that they don't even like pay attention to it. So one of the things that I've told them when they're using AI is the AI is your tutor feedback. Don't ever put it in there asking for the answer. Put it in there to ask for deeper. Look at my writing style. How can I make this clear? What are some key points that I should take from this? Things that I had access to once I found out that I could use a tutor in high school. Before that, I was doing it all on my own. And when I felt like that world opened up to me, is this is what I feel AI could be if we put it in the hands of students, or if we learn they've already done this. I've actually put their paper in here before and said, "Hey, how can this be better?" And then the students get it back and they look at it and go, "I never thought of that." These are things that can improve us as we go through it. All right, Tara, are you typing to me or are you going through? All right, so I'll wait for her to go through. So again, I want to make sure you guys have in the link on the bottom, if you don't have that AI to teach, the QR code. And again, share this. This is one of those things that I feel like when I walk into places that are using AI, they're just using it as the, and I love Magic School. I love those things, I do. But I just want you to know that sometimes us not asking the right questions gets us stuck and we're not making AI work for us. All right, are there any questions from you guys that I can ask or show again? Or Tara, I keep cutting you off because I see you
Oh, no,
typing.
you're fine. I see Susan typing something. I don't know if she has a question or a comment. Oh, there she goes.
Wait, so Susan, can I ask you, what grade level do you teach? Are you middle school or high school?
High school grade 9 through 12. So middle
English?
school too. Well, French, FLA. So yes. Yeah. Languages.
Okay, so can I ask you just, I mean, this is a recording, so you don't have to be too in depth, but how would you use what I showed you? Do you know any ways that you would use it?
Well, I think I'm still super beginning at this, and that I've been like, no, you can't use it, don't use it, don't use it. And I mean, we've had Google Translate around forever. Most of our students, English is their first language, or their dominant language. And so I've always been no, no, no. And so now it's like, okay, how can I actually teach them how to use this ethically? And yeah, I'm kind of learning as they learn them. And I just don't want them to go in there and say, write me an essay for Macbeth, press print, and they're done their essay. So yeah, that didn't really answer your question, did it?
No, no, hold on. But here's the thing. This is how kids would use it. How do I use AI in French class? But then, conversation prompts, translate grammar. Does it do translate grammar? I didn't know that. But cultural connections, engaging games. One of the things that I felt like as you go through this, especially when you're teaching something like I use it with Spanish, was how do what are examples, what are phrases that I need to know, what are things on there that I could help my student or help my son with, is that the kids are using it this way. They're putting in your work on that, but being able to ask the questions of how can I use this? This is where you can basically use AI to be able to go, how do I use this on a daily basis? Because you know, it's for teachers and then for students, get help with writing, practice punctuation, learn new words, do mini role plays, chat with AI in French, even if it's a few lines to build confidence with conversation. Examples start with bonjour, comment c'est. What did I just say? What is this?
Bonjour, comment tu t'appelles-tu? Or comment tu t'appelles?
And then what did it say back to me? Bonjour, tu m'appelles ChatGPT. What is it saying? What did it just say to me?
It said, hi, my name is ChatGPT. And what are you, or what's your name?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is beyond me. But again, this is something that they have access to on there. So again, I want you to know I don't have any one way to use this. It's all about how you use this for you and how you can play with this. But I would love, Susan, if we ever see each other again, to see how you're using this, ideas, because I've never taught French, and be able to have how this can be a part of what you do in your educational world.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
All right. Tara, anything else you need? I want to make sure. And then
No, this is awesome. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, George.
I know Tawny left. Is Tawny still here? Tawny, what are your thoughts?
No, Tawny's here. I think that there is a lot that can be done with this. As I text you privately, I am also sometimes a little bit leery about getting rid of, people's real content by remixing it. We've got that problem in the music industry, but there is great potential. And I think if teachers are afraid of it, they're going to drop behind in where life is going. And we don't want that for anyone in education. We've seen that happen too often in colleges. So I'm excited for what we can do with it. A little bit leery for creators sometimes.
No, and I will say this: Andor, the guy who created it, didn't want to upload the scripts to a ChatGPT thing where
Yeah.
it could go through it, because I don't think what he created was his thing, and that's why I feel like in this, I asked the prompt is the best prompt you can do is look at what I've insert your notes. How can I make this easier for students? Like for one that my wife is using right now, there's a gap because of COVID. So there's a gap in some of the kids. They missed some things. And so she drops in the information and ask it, how do I make this easier to understand if the student didn't have these core concepts? And it was just little things that you need to do that were should have done before. And that's where I feel like it could help you. But
Absolutely. And especially for things like if someone's trying to make a resume and having something that will help them organize it better, if there's not, that's not a skill that they have, or if you're trying to, so many things that it can really just help fine tune life a little bit better. There's just tons of potential for students. Absolutely.
I like it for, and you brought this up already, George, but just for like brainstorming and planning. I think about, kids coming, obviously teachers doing that for instructions, but even if we're going to allow students to use it, then allowing them to use it in their planning stages, and then seeing, again, feeding it, teaching them how to feed it correctly so that they're putting in their ideas and seeing how that can help organize their ideas some, so that they're able to produce a more cohesive product.
no, you're Tara, that's 100%. And they're already doing it. And
Awesome.
by teaching them, like, because I usually put in their paper sometimes and be like, it tells you flat out these are the parts that are not yours, because it's like if I wrote in French and I switched to Spanish, you could tell which is not my language, which is not the way I speak, and using your format. So I don't know, AI is one of those things that I feel like it's going to be one of the things we're going to battle with. We can either embrace it, we can push on it, but more importantly, you need to know about it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
We can also
Agreed.
regulate it just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Is it already out of the
Especially-
bag? I don't know.
Right. Especially for our students, we need them to continue to think. I don't want them to, I don't want to enable that.
Exactly. But finding new ways to think around the same.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
the goal.
Yes. 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 Yes.
This just became a podcast. I feel like this is
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Stacy, did she come back? Or Susan, do you ladies have any additional questions before we close out? Okay. Well, I want to thank you, George. That was super in-depth. I learned a whole lot, actually. So thank you for that, sharing those nuggets with us. And that's going to do it. Of course, this is being recorded, so it will be available in the community as well as on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Have a good one, you all. Bye.